Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Rishi Sunak has finally found his cabinet, although this isn't a particularly well-built one. It's like an IKEA second. There's a few screws loose and one or two rather odd knobs hanging around. But he did have his first cabinet meeting, and all did not go as well as he would have hoped, because Kemi Badenoch ripped into him and tore him a new corn shoot. She mired the entire meeting in chaos by telling the truth. Things he needed to hear, but definitely things he did not want to hear. She, the new Shadows Community Secretary, said that Sunak's decision not to inform the opposition frontbenchers before calling the July the 4th election was probably unconstitutional. Not that they're going to complain now, of course. But she also said that his decision to leave the D-Day commemoration early just to go for a TV interview has cost hundreds of seats. She said he failed to understand the culture, history and heritage of this country, thinking it was just another thing that prime ministers had to do without realising the deep and personal attachment these things have for families. It's not his culture. He wasn't there. No one he knows was there. Why should he care? But it mattered to an awful lot of people. And they showed how it mattered, of course, as she explained to him. That's why they lost hundreds of seats. She also had an attack on Craig Williams, who's Mr. Sunak's closest parliamentary chum, his aide. And that's the one, of course, if you remember, placed the bet on when the date of the election should be, shortly after learning it, one suspects. Very dodgy. She called him a buffoon and suggested that Suella Braverman was having a very public nervous breakdown, which she is, existentially so. I don't think Suella will remain long in the Tories. I do foresee her joining Reform. She's very much to the right of the Tories. I think Reform would be glad to have her, and I think they need someone. They need someone more than just Nigel. Otherwise, they end up just being, again, a cult of personality. If you can get two or three top big names in, then it draws attention and you do have the legitimacy. There's also the fact that the 5 MPs are all 5 middle-aged white men. So it's nice to, have someone that isn't. It sort of spreads it around a bit and stops any accusations. So perhaps getting Suella on board wouldn't be a bad thing. Anyway, so Kemi went on. She warned that colleagues were not understanding, she said, the enormity of the situation. And I think she's right. Going forward, this is not just a big mountain to climb. This is a whole series of mountains to climb, because it is so down and so bad. They've got so many things to overcome. It's probably not doable in one parliament. So many lost their seats. And of course, the public's perception of the Tories is down the toilet now. And all because of Rishi Sunak, the backstabber who got rid of Boris, who was elected against the wishes of the own members, where the MPs themselves forced this on to the party and the country without any mandate whatsoever. And so, of course, no wonder he was rejected. But, of course, she's saying now the party's all sinking into the mire. It's all mudslinging and name-calling. And it's just dire, but it isn't going to improve anytime soon. Rishi needs to go as soon as he can. He needs to just quit, basically. Quit as an MP and go, force a by-election and disappear and expunge himself from the party. And then get someone in who's vaguely respectable. Mind you, there's not many. There's not many at all. And so this whole meeting was sitting there. And it wasn't just Kemi. Lord Frost had a go. Haig had a go. All sorts of sitting there having a go at Rishi Sunak. And he had to sit there and take it. After all, he's now powerless. It's not as though he rules with an iron rod. He's not the Prime Minister, and he's barely the leader of the party. In fact, he's only the leader of the party because nobody else wants the job at the moment. They struggled to form a 1922 committee, the backbenchers committee that sort of oversees the way the party's run. They did eventually get one, Bob Blackman, who replaced Graham Brady. But that's about as much as they got in their first evening's meeting. I don't think Kemi is a very happy woman, and I believe if she does become leader, things will change. Certainly There'll be a change of personnel. There's going to be a lot of changes. The direction, for sure. Their policies going forward, for sure. The wets will have to be out. She'll not be able to suffer any wets in positions. It's got to be a lurch to the right if she wants to offset the reform. The natural Tory voters went to reform because natural Tory voters couldn't vote for a party as left-wing as the Conservative Party. Reform were the only party on the right that were electable. Kemi recognises this. If she gets there and she basically tightens the rules, changes the outlook, and encourages those on the left to go and find another party, she may just, and again it's just, turn the whole thing around. But it's a big ask, isn't it? And I don't think, as I said, that it'll be doable in a single parliamentary term. I think this is going to be a build, a recovery, and then a push. So she'll build for a few years, they'll recover at the next general election, not win it, maybe gain another 100 seats or so back. And with a bit of luck then by Labour sort of failing and being seen as awful. Because, of course, remember, Labour's win was wide, but it wasn't deep. More people voted for the Conservatives and Reform combined than voted for Labour. That's what worries Keir Starmer and the Labour Party. In fact, it's very worrying for them. Imagine they formed a coalition. Now that would be trouble. That would be ultimately trouble. He was very lucky with Starmer with the seats, but not with the votes. And that's the problem. Only 20% of the electorate voted for him. You can't really call it a mandate. But he's going to, because he's saying, I've got the seats. Yes, and that's why our system needs to change. And I wonder if Kemi will lead the call for that. Because if she does, I think she'll get a lot of support from a lot of places. But these things are early days, after all. It's only the first proper day of business and only the second day of the new Parliament. Well, 1,800 days to go. Let's hope something changes. Can't think of what. Anyway, we'll leave them to it. We'll let them continue their infighting for a while. I'm sure a few heads will roll. We'll wait and see until Rishi can find it in himself to sod off to America with his untaxed billions. And the rest of us will get on with it. Anyway, until next time, stay safe, stay well. Do please hit subscribe if you're yet to subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will speak to you later. Cheers. Bye.